Hi, Birdman.
Hey, Wheels, what's going on, man?
Uh, it's the best part of your week, isn't it? Talking to me.
Yeah, I do enjoy this.
You
Tonight
know
was
you love it.
tonight was a good night. Just got back from pedicures.
Pedicure, like both of you, they did both of your talons, huh?
Yeah,
Ugh.
snip
Did you
them
tip
all
her?
off.
Did you tip her?
Yeah.
If you didn't tip her, then I'm gonna Venmo her some bucks because your friggin' toenails. Ugh, it's my worst nightmare.
All the ladies tell me that I have nice man feet.
Like all the ladies that you're paying to tell you that?
No,
Or like
just like
all the ladies at the beach.
All the ladies at the nail salon.
The ones you're paying by the hour, or the ones you meet out in public?
Yeah, no, these nail salon ladies. I don't have gross man feet. They're actually decent.
Yeah, my feet aren't gross either in the scheme of things. I mean, they're not ideal, but I would put myself in like the 75th percentile,
Yeah,
80th.
yeah.
You've been telling me about getting a pedicure for a long time. I'm not opposed to it. It's just like I haven't gotten around to it, kind of deal.
It's one of those things that like I got over there was a little bit of a fear, and I floodgates opened. I love it. It's embarrassing.
Done too?
No, I've never gotten the what's the hand one? Manicure. Never gotten that.
Manicure. Yeah, I bashed my fingernail real bad. I don't know if you can see on camera or whatever, but it's bad.
Yeah.
But the toolbox fell on it. All right, well, we digress. Welcome to RankEmz, everyone. Dennis gets his toes did. Thankfully, all ten of them, right?
All 10.
They charge by the toe, or what do they do?
No, just all 10. Flat rate. It's kind of a nice deal.
Run out of sponsors, so I'm still drinking Bud Light seltzers.
Yeah.
But it's the terrible flavors, so I've gotten to the back of the box. I'm beyond the lemons and the black cherries and the crowd favorites, right?
Yeah.
So now we're down to strawberry. It's like, just make all black cherries. Everybody be fine.
They make black cherry boxes. You can get a 12-pack.
I know, but they're always sold out. You just like, you get the dregs when you show up at like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday and you're like, hey, I got to hurry up and make a RankEmz episode. I digress. Welcome to RankEmz, the show that's mostly nonsense. We rank random stuff. I don't know what's going to happen here tonight. Birdman, I think you do.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and hit us?
All right, man. So a little, Easter egg for today is the shirt. We got Mario here sitting on Luigi. A little tough to see, but it's a little pixelated Mario from Super Mario World. As you know,
that most of the world calls it Mario, right?
Mario.
I know. I got corrected too. I'm from the same area you grew up. Everybody calls him Mario. I thought it was Mario.
Yeah, no, I'm going Mario.
I'm going to stick with it. Fuck everybody else. But continuing on.
So, as you know, growing up, video games were a big part of a lot of kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s. Us being, two of those guys. For me, it started when I was young with my dad's Mattel Electronics and television and ColecoVision systems. That then rolled right into the original Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES. And I'll tell you what, kind of starting with that, I was really a Nintendo loyalist right through the groundbreaking Nintendo 64. Prior to the Nintendo 64, video games were kind of mostly an individual activity. But with the N64, that really kind of all changed. So today, we're going to be ranking our favorite Nintendo 64 games.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming eventually someday, man.
Well, I think it's perfect time. Nintendo is actually releasing some N64 games on the newest system, the Switch. They're re-releasing the Nintendo 64 controller. So by the time this drops, that'll be released, and it'll be kind of a good topic. It'll be relevant,
Love it.
So today we are going to be ranking 5 games and maybe discuss a few extra bonus ones if we have the time. So these are not necessarily, from the top of games of all times. Some of these are some original Nintendo 64 games. Some of them are just my favorites. But the 5 that we're going to rank, you want to get your pen ready here, is number 1 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Number 2 is Mario 64, the classic. Number 3, Wave Race 64. Number 4, GoldenEye 007. And number 5, Mario Kart 64. So, before we kind of get into the individual rankings, I'd like to just kind of give a quick background on the N64, how it came about, and I'll give you some details on each one of the games. So the N64 was released on September 29th, 1996 for $199. This was the cheapest and most accessible system of the 5th generation, compared to the 3DO, which retailed at $699 at its launch in late 1993. Man, can you imagine $700 in '93? That's a lot of cash. That's probably why the 3DO just didn't do any business.
Well, there's no way my dad didn't want to spend $600 on my tuition in 1993, let alone a video game. And I didn't have $600 at 11 years old.
Yeah, it was $699. Crazy.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, there's no way. How many lawns can you cut in the summer in '93 to make that even possible? No, you're either a spoiled idiot or whatever.
I don't know if I knew anyone that had a 3DO.
The only one I could think of is Conquest, but even then,
I don't think he had
to verify.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the older brother always had all the cool stuff.
Yeah, he did.
I digress. That's the only person I could think that could possibly have one. Weren't they like the same technology in the console games at the arcade?
So that one was the Neo Geo.
Neo Geo? Yeah, okay.
And that one I think at the time had like 700. Each game was like $700. But that was a different generation. By the 5th generation, we had kind of gone past this. One thing that was actually pretty interesting about the N64 was it was the only system to rely solely on cartridges. This was definitely kind of sort of controversial at the time because every other major player in the market, including the Sony PlayStation, which was new, started using CD-ROMs. CD-ROMs allowed for more storage and kind of a different experience. But over its lifetime, the N64 sold almost 33 million consoles. The best-selling game of the console was Super Mario 64 that sold just over 11.5 million copies. So
I'll tell you a funny story real quick.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in an Irish family and, communication amongst family is not exactly what we're best at. So one year for Christmas, I got the PlayStation and the N64 both under the Christmas tree. And it turns out Mom didn't talk to Dad about it. And so they decided they were going to make me pick one. Or I had to go to work with Dad for a week at the shop in between Christmas and New Year's. I was like, you can't give somebody a gift and then say, like, you have to go to work for this stuff.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, I went to work for it, and I just didn't pay attention the second half of, 8th grade.
Yeah. No, that's a hell of it. So, I remember one Christmas, I got a Genesis and a Super Nintendo the same Christmas. It was awesome.
Forget about it. Nobody saw you for a month.
No. Another big thing for the N64 was that it allowed 4 players. This was not possible with other consoles at the time. This definitely made for some pretty exciting evenings in my basement playing 4-player games as a teenager. Screaming awful things at each other as we played 4-player Goldeneye. We're playing 2-on-2 NBA Hang Time. There were too many.
I'm just surprised you knew 3 other people.
I know.
Who was it? You playing like on different controllers, or?
Yeah, I would go with the left hand and the right hand. I got very good at it.
Yeah. The wizard.
Ambidextrous. So as you'll note with the list, we do have 5 this week. I did want to try to keep it to 4, but it was very difficult getting it to 5. We have kind of 2 individual games and 3 multiplayer games that were most fun playing with friends. I'll go over these games one more time before Wheels will get us started here with his number 5. So Mario 64, again, is the first one we're going to rank. Don't really think this needs too much introduction. It was an N64 launch game, continuation of one of the most popular game franchises in history. It had groundbreaking 3D graphics, huge amounts of hidden stars, hours upon hours of gameplay. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was the first N64 Zelda game released in November of 1998. It was a huge success, selling over 7.5 million copies worldwide. Similar to Mario 64, the game brought the Zelda series to 3D for the first time. Goldeneye 007, this is another game that doesn't need much intro. First released in August of 1997. It was not the first multiplayer, first-person shooter, but it was definitely one of the most accessible. You didn't need a state-of-the-art computer to play Goldeneye. And what made it great for my generation was the four-player death matches that the N64 facilitated. Cutting-edge 3D graphics and hugely entertaining. Mario Kart 64, this was another game that benefited from the 4-player availability. Released in February 1997, me and 3 friends could battle each other to get balloons off each other's carts to be the last player standing. I have hours and hours of multiplayer gameplay into the Mario Kart 64 game, as well as the other games in that series. Tons of friendships were made and lost over this game, I can tell you that. And then finally, Wave Race 64, released November 1st, 1996. It was not an N64 launch game, although it originally had planned to be. It was pretty close to it. It had cutting-edge water graphics that made for a game that looked like no other that anyone had ever played. 2-player in-house racing, single-player against multiple difficulties. The game had tons of gameplay, and it had legs. Like, you could put tons and tons of hours into it. So with that, Wheels, I think, let's start with your number 5. I do think we have 5 powerhouse games here. I don't think this is going to be an easy one for either of us, but one of them's got to be number 5, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I've ranked these like 4 or 5 times since we've just been talking. First of all, it's water graphics, not water graphics.
I get
digress.
I get you.
Every one of these games was released between 96 and 98. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Approximately?
Yeah.
Every one of these games, anybody out there could pick up right now and it would be a blast.
Oh,
right?
Would love to play it.
Name a game that holds up that long. I can't even do math. But that's like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, I can do math, but Atari sucks. You pick up people that say they still like Atari games. They're just trying to be like a hipster and cool and whatever. They suck.
You can
All
play
these games are entertaining.
You can play an Atari game, some old Nintendo games for 15, 20 minutes, and you can enjoy it. I could pick up Mario 64 today and play for 3 hours and
miss work tomorrow because you stayed up too late.
And think about it tomorrow, like, when am I going to get to play that again?
Exactly. All 5 of these are in that category.
Yep.
This, I will say, some of your lists suck. They don't suck, but some are obvious. You know what I mean? Some suck, whatever. But some are obvious. This one, man, real tough.
Yeah.
Real tough. That said, there has to be a 5.
Got to be a 5.
Wave Race.
Really?
Number 5. Yeah, 2 reasons. One, the other 4 are like revolutionary all-timers.
I think Wave Race is, but
I will preface this with saying, well, not preface, but I will say that I didn't have the game. Okay. I just always played it at our buddy's house, and it was kind of fun. You could do the loopy loops, and it was kind of neat, and the water graphics were pretty cool too. But didn't have it. But being 5 on this list could still put you in like number 25 game all time, right? Because this is a tough. This is the gauntlet right here.
Yeah.
Also a very good game. So for me, number 5 has to be Wave Race. Never really got into it, and it's just the company it's in. Still, it's an entertaining, fun game the times I played it, but can't put it above 5.
Yeah, so my number 5 is at that spot for similar reasons. I don't think everyone's going to like this one, but I know you're not going to like this. But Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
I gotta go.
It
turns out I got somewhere else to be.
Yep.
Can I just leave?
The first Zelda game I owned is on the newest system, Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch. So I actually never played this game. Was never, up until this latest generation, was never interested in Zelda games. I have 0 hours into it and can only rank it as my number 5. I know that's going to be hurtful to you as a Zelda fan, but
the people that are in the comment, the people that are commenting unsubscribe. Thanks a lot.
Well,
okay. Now, opinion's an opinion, whatever.
Yeah.
That was a dumb one. That was one of your dumbest yet.
Yeah, figured.
Is this me on 4?
Yeah, up on 4.
Probably also controversial, especially given the whole multiplayer. You just touted the Nintendo for having 4 controllers, a lot of hours, blah, blah, blah. Mario Kart.
Wow.
Love the freaking game.
You're an asshole, I think.
Well, let's see how this goes here for the rest of the list. But I'm a big fan of the Mario Kart franchise in general, right? The Mario Kart 64 was the best Mario Kart. I don't know. Was there one after that even? Was there did the Wii have one? Or they probably did.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It was a great game. But it just felt like the next gen of the previous system. It was tons of fun. Again, this comes back to you gave us a difficult list, man. Why can't you throw in like one little boner here and there where we could just skip over it? But my top 3, I'm standing by my top 3. My top 3, Mario Kart is not because of the fact that I don't like it. It's just the top 3 are above and beyond some of the best games of all time, let alone on this list.
All right. Disagree, but I'll agree to disagree because I don't think you're going to like my number 4. Mario 64. So I actually did not get an N64 until Christmas 1996. By that time...
Wasn't it out for 3 months? What do you mean you didn't get one until then?
Yeah, I wasn't a day one guy is what I'm trying to say, right?
So 3 months, boo-hoo. All right, whatever.
No, it's not... That's not a flex of some sort, right? But like you know, we had other friends that already had the system on launch day, and I actually already had some hours in Nintendo into Mario 64.
Shitballs.
Yeah, Shitballs had it, and like would be in his basement playing that. By the time I actually got the system, which was by the way, kind of my parents had tricked me. So where you got it that Christmas, my parents went the entire Christmas morning. And we went through all the gifts, and it wasn't under there, and that was fine. You know, I think I've always been very grateful for what I was able to get, and I'll never forget. My dad was like, "Oh, I forgot a few boxes upstairs in the closet. Can you just go grab them?" And I'll never forget. Like there were 5 or 6 wrapped boxes. I came down, and they were supposed to be like the family exchange gifts, right? They weren't from Santa or anything. And then he just handed them to me, and it was N64. Cruisin' USA, I believe, Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think 2 of the boxes were 2 gifts for my sister as well. So,
so they weren't from Santa, but you were like in high school?
Yeah, I already knew, I knew nothing was from Santa. It just wasn't already under the tree or anything, you know?
Okay. I was just making sure, man.
Yeah.
96, I know how old we are. 14 was a little late to be still believing in Santa, but...
Yeah.
If he's sneaking video game consoles in my closet, I'll still believe in that guy.
So yeah, with Mario 64, by the time I got it, and I didn't put many hours into it, right? So I wasn't big into the completion of the game, getting all the stars. That game's also a little difficult, right? You kind of had to get used to that 3D world, the controls. Once you got used to it, it was fun for sure. And it's by no means a slight as being my number 4. I never beat the game. It never grabbed me like some of the other side-scrolling Marios did. I know. It's one of the best-selling games of all time. I still love it. It's still above that shitbag Zelda game, but it's my number 4.
You mean the one you never played, Dingbat?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Way to sound like you know what you're talking about with our 4 fans.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable, dude.
Let's hear that number 3.
All right, my number 3, Goldeneye.
Okay.
Now we're starting to get into some of the good ones. One of the greatest, I don't know what you call them.
First-person
shooters.
Yep.
And it was so fun to play by yourself with other people. You could do just slaps. You could do the golden gun. You could do time mines only. There were all kinds of fun little things you could do. You could also when it was a 4 screen, you could cheat and see where the other guy was.
Yeah.
And kind of deduce where you needed to be. So that was a crowd pleaser and a game you could play by yourself. The storyline was awesome. All the different guns were awesome. It could be as easy or as hard as you wanted it to be too. That game on hard mode and some of the later levels was literally impossible.
Yeah.
But your layman could just walk up and beat it within a couple days.
Yeah.
So it kind of grew with you. And I don't know, they're just the sniper rifle. I'm still trying to remember the D4 Destavil. Remember that handgun was pretty good. I'm trying to remember all the guns, right? It's been 20 years, but that game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Love it. Changed the game a little bit too.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
reality, as well as the rest of this list did too. But number 3, Goldeneye, love it. I would pick that up right now and love to play it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. I think with this top 3. I think that one definitely deserves to be in the top 3, and it's kind of based on your preferences where it actually sits. So for me, number 3, Mario Kart 64. The top 3 is really where it got difficult. Mario Kart gets the 3rd spot because it was really all about the multiplayer for me. I never found kind of the just the regular 1-player mode to be all that great, but it's possibly the best or second best multiplayer game on the list. But overall, it gets bumped to number 3 just because the single player was just okay. It wasn't bad. It was, like I said, it was just okay. Multiplayer, phenomenal. 2 thumbs up, A++. So yeah, that's why it gets bumped to 3. It's still in the top 3.
Wasn't there a couple of pixelated babes in it? Some Russian babes that were pixelated?
In Mario Kart, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about Goldeneye.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking Mario
Not
Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got sidetracked there.
Thinking about titties over there. Video game titties.
Pixelated titties.
Actually,
no, Tomb Raider's not on this list. So.
Tomb Raider, and the other one that was big for that was Duke Nukem.
Oh yeah, that was a total smut fest.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, my number 3, Mario Kart. Great multiplayer game, single player, just okay.
Did you like Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, I thought that was good. But Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo was a better one-player, just actual racing game.
Oh, I like the multiplayer in that as well. But either way, I like the battle. I like the battlefield in that one.
4-player multiplayer, Mario Kart 64 was awesome, where you had the 3 balloons, and everyone was just going around in circles or squares in those areas, trying to kill each other. That was awesome. Let's see. Hit me with that too. Yeah.
Number 2. One of the greatest games, most revolutionary games. I'm going to call this 1B, not even 2. This was tough. 1 and 2 was tough. One of the greatest, most revolutionary games of all time. Changed it up a little bit. Turned the whole thing on its head. Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like, it took a little while to get used to that 3D joystick, right? Some could call Nintendo crazy for even trying to do that. Yeah. Remember, like, some of, like, the last, I don't know, like, the best graphics from the Super Nintendo games? Like, I don't know, like the Donkey Kong series and all that?
Yep.
Right? They were, like, people were, like, mind blown, right? And they launched this new system, and they got this 3D thing. I remember our friend Shitballs, I was sitting there playing it for the first time in my whole life, right? Down in his basement. His older brother's behind us smoking Marlboro Reds. And I'm just touching the 3D dial for the first time, just trying to figure it out, right? It's a whole new world, right? It's a third dimension. And he goes, I won't say his name, but he goes, yo, what's your buddy, stupid or something? And I'm right here. He's like 3 years older than us, smoking cigarettes. I'm like 14. And yeah, once you got it figured out, you're right, it was a little bit tough. And once you got that joystick figured out and the controls and the dynamics, changed the game. To this day, a lot of games, like, you know, that, like, the whole, I don't even know what you call it, but, like, just the physics of video gaming is probably, that was a pivot point in general.
Yeah, and I'll tell you there was a cool puzzle aspect to that game, too. Not actually figuring out puzzles, but you could find certain stars by certain camera angles and stuff, and, like, that was the only way to find it. So that's what I mean by puzzle. Like, it did really make you think. Well, there was 120 stars, is that correct?
Yes.
Right? So, like, you know, to beat the game, you could beat the game with 75 stars or something. But
yeah, it's something like that, 75 or 80. But 120 got you Yoshi, which did pretty much nothing for you.
Did you beat that? Did you hit the 120?
I did.
Yeah. See, now I never even came close. I never beat the game.
It wasn't that hard to beat, but that 120 was, like, freaking impossible.
Oh, yeah.
You had to, like, the internet wasn't out then. I mean, I guess it was, but like, it wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
So you had to, like, look and, like, ask your buddies or look at Nintendo Power or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably dating myself here, but one of the most revolutionary games of all time. And that's why I'm calling it 1B, is because I do have a personal bias for number 1, which we'll get to, but you already know what that is.
Yeah. No, listen, I really do like Mario. I just didn't put the hours into it. So I respect that. But my number 2, Wave Race 64. Game was a game changer. I can remember being absolutely blown away by how awesome and realistic the graphics were on my 27-inch tube television. Those waves looked so real. Oh, man. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I have no words.
There was
a new I'm gonna take applications for a new co-host. But continuing on.
But like, so when you're looking back on it, the graphics really did look like shit, like compared to what they are now. But at the time, they were awesome. This game had good multiplayer. It was not 4-player. You could only do 2-player. But 2-player multiplayer and single-player games were both awesome. Both were hard, but not too hard. It was very challenging. There were all different types of modes where you could do, like the trick mode, the racing mode, the multiplayer mode. This is one game series I would love to see come back on the current Nintendo Switch. I don't know if that's actually in the books. I don't know. It was just cool. You had 4 different riders that had different stats on what they could do. Some were faster, some were heavier, some were slower, some were better at tricks, some were worse at tricks. Overall, great game, a lot of hours into it. I loved it.
I could just picture you like, oh my gosh, Dad, look at the water.
Yeah.
It looks like real water.
Looks like real water.
Look at it. Do
you remember
it looks like the water is glistening.
You could submarine, right? You could go off a ramp or a wave, and then you could submarine under the next one. It was unreal. Game changer is awesome. Number 2.
Tell somebody who cares.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cross that one out.
Yeah.
Do you want to say it? Because you knew it the whole time.
Go for it, my man.
Say it?
Go for it.
Zelda Ocarina of Time.
All right.
Maybe my second favorite Zelda of all time. Again, Breath of the Wild, easy number 1. It'd be hard to rank the Zeldas as a side note, but this thing was insane. It had that same like 3D like world, like explorable world that Mario did, but there was no boundaries. It was a lot fewer boundaries. Like you weren't jumping in and out of paintings. It wasn't as cartoonish. It just felt like for the first time you had this whole world to explore. The weapons, the fact that you could like, I don't know. Again, it's been 20 years or whatever. I remember loving this game more than anything. And then to that note, they had a second one, Majora's Mask for Nintendo 64, which was absolutely atrocious.
Okay.
I could never invest more than, because it was all time. If you didn't get it just right, you had to go back and the whole thing. There was different masks. That was the one that, honestly, that's the worst Zelda game of all time to me, was the second one. But the Zelda Ocarina of Time, you get to play the flute, play all these different songs, and do all this different stuff, and it just, I don't know. Once you got good at it, you felt like you were the man.
Yeah.
It's frustrating at first, but once you kind of figure out the puzzles and everything. So I think now that you know that Breath of the Wild, kind of get the feel for that game, you would go back and play this, and it's a lot of the same sort of look and feel and problem solving and all that kind of started here.
Yeah. No, listen, I probably would like it now that I've played the newest one. Like I said, I just had never played any of the Zelda games, never played the original Zelda. So I just wasn't into it, never got it, never asked for it, never bought it. And yeah, that's on me. I get that. And I understand
best video game franchise of all time, Zelda.
I can't argue that. It's not mine, but
period.
People are going to like that ranking for sure.
Well, people that are logical and not idiots. What do you got? What do you got, idiot?
All right, so mine is a number 1 on a lot of people's list, Goldeneye, right?
Yeah, all right.
It was not an easy number 1 for me, but what really I think puts Goldeneye over the edge is very in-depth single-player campaign along with those 4-player death matches.
Yeah.
It was fun by yourself, fun with a group of people. I know it's not necessarily the first deathmatch type game. There were other PC games that were kind of doing this better. You had Doom and like I don't remember exactly when Duke Nukem came out, but those were like the PC kind of versions of this. But GoldenEye 64, I have so many great memories kind of with friends, a couple of imaginary friends. You know,
you keep bringing up these friends, but nobody's ever seen one.
They're friends, you know. I don't know. It was great. I thought everything about that game. It was revolutionary, like we kind of talked about before. Awesome game. Easy number 1. I think it's also going to be a crowd favorite, number 1 as well.
Yeah, I have no problem with that number 1. The rest of your list is kind of dog shit.
Yeah.
So I've started taking notes on yours. So you had Zelda 5.
Yeah.
Mario 64 4. So those are my top 2. This is the first time we've had a complete reversal of 5, 4, and 1, 2.
Yeah.
Wave Race, man, nobody even remembers that game or cares about water graphics.
I'm telling you, Wave Race is a crowd favorite.
Whatever. Yeah, you picked a tough list.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that, right?
Now,
there's nothing you can really do.
One thing that, you know, since you don't know this stuff ahead of time, what is another game on the Nintendo 64 that like has a special place in your heart? There's one for me that I wanted to put on this list, but I don't know if you would have ever played it. And that's
I loved like the Tetris that was on Nintendo 64. It was like kind of insane.
That's interesting.
Man, there was that. Remember, you can get like those blocks and they'd mold into one thing, and that was also like a multiplayer scenario.
Okay.
That game was fan-friggin-tastic. You go first. I'll think of one. I wasn't really thinking about this yet.
So I don't know if you've ever played it. It was a game called Blast Corps.
Yeah. Of course.
So basically,
there's a bunch of like dump trucks and stuff.
Yeah, you had different cars or machines, and then there was this like nuclear missile that was going through a town, and it had a very specific route, and you had to destroy everything in its route so it wouldn't hit it and explode.
Yeah.
It was a weird concept. It just worked. Like it wasn't multiplayer. It was just a single player campaign, but like there was something very methodical about it. There were the different vehicles had different ways that you would kind of crush the buildings and everything. It was a very cool game for me. It's definitely on my top 10 video games of all time list. For this one, I'm not, I was sure that wasn't going to be a crowd favorite. So another one.
Yeah. So I like Star Fox a lot, especially that Star Fox. Like, I played that for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. Do a barrel roll.
Yeah. Barrel rolls.
Hey Fox, do a barrel roll. And it's like this rabbit. It's like, come on, man, you guys don't do anything. What else did I like on that?
So another big one in my basement was NBA Hang Time, which was basically NBA Jam, but you could do 2-on-2, 4-player. They had the baseline leaner.
That's right. Baseline leaner. I remember that.
So that was another good, just like 4-player multiplayer game that me and these imaginary friends played in the basement of a lot.
You and your imaginary friends. I'm just even looking through like Nintendo 64 games.
Yeah.
There wasn't a ton of. Oh, there was. Remember Turok the Dinosaur Hunter?
Yeah, that was a big one.
I never had it.
Shitballs did.
Most of the game I had back then were the PlayStation ones.
Okay.
Like I have like Twisted Metal, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, all those big. Like I feel like PlayStation pushed the envelope a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than Nintendo did back then.
Yeah.
But no, I did love Star Fox 64.
Yeah, Star Fox was a good one. I honestly didn't even think of that one. I had tons of hours into that one too, for sure.
You could do like the flip, and it was kind of 3D. It kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
Right, like the camera. Yeah, you hit the edge of the screen, and you would like do a flip back, but they were fun.
Yeah.
This is a good one, man. Hey, remember that thing you used to be able to like put the Nintendo down onto, and it was like the expansion pack. And it was supposed to make it like even more powerful. Then you had the rumble pack and the controller.
Yep. So yeah, the expansion pack came with I forget what game.
I'm trying to remember what the hell that stuff was.
So I think the expansion pack honestly was just additional RAM.
So you could like save your progress, or
no? I think for some of the graphics, like it required it to run. I think someone's going to bitch and say that that's not correct. But then the Rumble Pack was cool.
Bitch. Subscribe, then bitch. How about that? Let's call it fair.
Rumble Pack was cool because that was the first time, like at least on the Nintendo series, that you could feel it, right?
Yeah, like tactile feedback or whatever.
And it wasn't great. It was pretty huge. You had to put friggin' batteries in it,
But I remember, like, even as like enemies were getting close, like it gave you a little buzz. That was kind of cool. Like, of course, I know when I get hit in Zelda, right? Like, okay, the guy just slashed me and my hearts went down.
Yeah.
But like, if there was like an element where it can help you kind of adjust your strategy, that was always cool.
Yeah, that's certainly something that in like today's generation of video games has just continued, right? Like it's just kind of they've grown on that concept, and Nintendo is very good at like being on the cutting edge of what's next. They don't always do it the best, but a lot of times they do it first.
And they're like more of a crowd pleaser than like your deep, like your hardcore gamers, right? This is more for like, I bought a Switch, first video game system I bought in, I don't know, 20 years, just to beat Zelda. And you know what? Love it.
It's not the best graphics. It doesn't have the best chip in it, but it's just fun. It is, I think, crowd pleasing from like young kids all the way up through adults. That's kind of always been Nintendo's thing. It's like very inclusive, you know?
I got this gamer dude, coworker guy that is kind of fucking obsessed. Like he goes to tournaments and shit for different card games, but he loves the Switch and he's always trying to tell me what new games to get and whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm good.
Yeah.
I just want to beat Zelda and I'm putting this thing on eBay. Like I got a kid, I'm 39, what the fuck? Like there's no reason I should be getting into video games again.
Yeah, I don't have time for
It's
this.
more nostalgic. Yeah, I should be cutting the grass or you know what I mean, doing my taxes or something.
I'm telling you, dude, N64 is going to be out on the Switch here towards the end of October, so you might want to check it out.
All right, I will.
So
I think we bored everybody enough in one night.
Yeah, let's wrap it up here.
Why don't you wrap us up?
All right. So thanks everyone for joining us on RankEmz this week. We look forward to being back every week with a new list to rank them. Thanks to all of our followers. Please share our content if you enjoy it. Please smash that like button. Please comment and subscribe. Follow us on all social media apps at RankEmz Podcast. We're on the TikTok, the Facebook, Instagram, and the Snapchats. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like I mentioned. All links will be listed below by our producer and engineer, Smitty. Thanks to all the work he does. Actually, last couple episodes, it's been looking good. You got that green screen. You finally kind of stepped up there, and Smitty's been able to actually make the thing look good now, which is nice.
Well, my face makes it look good. But he's able to get the background out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally stepped up. All right, stepped up to the mic, and got a green screen. Everybody knows.
We're all happy about it. So
Wheels rules. Bird sucks.
But that's it.
See you next time, everyone.
Thanks, guys. See you, Wheels.
Adios, America and the world.